The drama begins when the male lead, Jisoo, is sitting in the staff room with his teacher, Mr. Park. His answer sheets are lying on the table. Seeing his grades, Mr. Park appears quite happy and impressed. Mr. Park says while smiling, "Jisoo, your marks are always at the top. You are truly a perfect student." Then he speaks in a casual manner. "But can I ask one thing? Until when will you keep living such a simple life? Oh, if you listen to me, you should also do a little bit of mischief like ordinary children. A little excitement is also necessary in life." Hearing this, Jisoo calmly takes out his notebook and begins to write the teacher's words word for word. Seeing this, Mr. Park becomes a little surprised. "Hey, I wasn't giving a lecture. Why do you start writing every word?" Then he says with a laugh, "Truly, Jisoo, how do you live daily life? Isn't living with such discipline tiring?" The male lead, Jisoo, only gives a slight smile but does not say anything. After a while, Mr. Park asks, "Okay, tell me, what have you thought for the future? What do you want to become later on?" The male lead, Jisoo, gives a straight answer without thinking much. "I want to go to a good college, and for that I will do everything through which I can earn as much money as possible." Mr. Park says while being a little surprised, "Only money?" Jisoo says in a calm voice, "Yes, sir. If there is money, there will be choices, and if there are choices, there will be control over life." In reality, as good as the male lead, Jisoo is in studies. His life is that much darker as well. After school ends, Jisoo quietly goes to his locker. From there, he takes out his secret phone, which he does not even show to anyone. In this phone, there is a special application named Doggo. As soon as the male lead, Jisoo, opens the app, messages for help start appearing on the screen. Someone is asking for help, someone is in danger, and someone is trapped in the clutches of a psycho. Without wasting time, Jisoo messages Mr. Lee, "Start the work." Meanwhile, at a certain place, a psycho man keeps a girl imprisoned in a closed room. That girl is a prostitute, and the psycho is recording her every move on a camera. He says in a cold and scary voice, "I don't know how people like you get trapped in this dirty work, but today, you have fallen into the hands of a very wrong man." The girl spits on him with anger and hatred. Seeing this, the psycho becomes even more furious. He behaves rudely with the girl and then picks up scissors to cut her hair. In fear and helplessness, the girl clicks her bracelet repeatedly, which is a secret help signal. Just as the psycho is about to cut her hair, the door breaks with force, and Mr. Lee enters. He knocks the psycho down in a single blow and frees the girl from his clutches. After the rescue, Mr. Lee sends the photos and details of the whole situation to the male lead, Jisoo. Then he messages, "This man has tortured the girl a lot. Tell me, what should we do with him now?" The male lead, Jisoo, thinks for a few seconds and then replies, "All the evidence is enough. Demand $2 million from him." Mr. Lee does exactly that. He threatens the psycho. At first, he refuses to give the money, but when he sees his life sinking into darkness, he breaks down. Finally, Mr. Lee forcibly takes the money from him. Actually, the male lead, Jisoo, and Mr. Lee together run a secret protection and escort service for girls. This entire system is operated through the Doggo app, so that no one discovers Jisoo's real identity. Mr. Lee leaves the girls safely at their work and then brings them back safely. The money that is received is kept hidden in the male lead, Jisoo's school locker. In this way, in a very short time, the male lead, Jisoo, saves $90 million, which he wants to use for his college. One day, the male lead, Jisoo, is sitting in class. The teacher is teaching, but Jisoo's attention goes outside the window. There, the female lead, Yuri, is laughing and playing with her friends. Her laughter, her energy, and her carefree nature attract Jisoo toward her at first sight. Jisoo keeps looking at her as if the rest of the world has stopped for him for a few moments. Meanwhile, a classmate moves forward to tease him, but just then, the teacher comes into the class and says, "Jisoo, Mr. Park is calling you to the staff room." The male lead, Jisoo, stands up from his seat, but while going, he looks at Yuri once again as if he wants to capture that moment within himself. In this way, the male lead, Jisoo, reaches the staff room to meet Mr. Park. Mr. Park signals him to sit and says in a serious tone, "Son, you are very good at studies, but studies alone are not everything. A person's life should have some hobbies. Therefore, I have decided that from now on, you will join my club." Hearing this, the male lead, Jisoo, suddenly becomes nervous. Without thinking, he immediately refuses, "Sorry, sir, but I am not interested in any such club." But just then, the female lead, Yuri, makes an entry. She is already a member of that same club. Upon arriving, Yuri hands over some files to Mr. Park and prepares to leave. Then, Mr. Park stops her and says, "Oh dear, you haven't completed the whole work yet." Hearing this, Yuri becomes a little angry and says, "Honestly, I am not interested in these things at all. I joined this club only because I found all this a bit fake, and I wanted to know what actually happens here." Mr. Park says while smiling, "Well then, from today, your work is going to be even easier, because from now on, Jisoo will help you in every task by becoming your assistant." Hearing this, the male lead, Jisoo's senses are blown away. He is unable to say anything in front of Yuri. For him, this situation is already quite awkward. Therefore, even if he wants to, he cannot refuse and says, out of compulsion, yes. Here, on the other side, Minju, who is Jisoo's classmate, reaches a secret location where all those girls are present who are part of this hidden network. Actually, Minju herself is also a part of this system. There, all the girls are talking among themselves about their mysterious boss, Jisoo. A girl, Ji-yu, says, I think our boss must definitely be some middle-aged man who will be quite grumpy and strict-looking. The other girls also agree. No one has even an idea that the person whose name they take with so much respect and fear is actually just a 20-year-old simple student, Jisoo. Meanwhile, Minju shares her tension. She says, I have to buy a gift for my boyfriend's birthday, but I don't have that much money right now. She is already quite stressed about this matter. Over there in school, the male lead, Jisoo, is busy with club activities with Yuri and Mr. Park. Jisoo has a habit of always being alone, therefore he is not able to open up much. He doesn't speak much, just quietly keeps doing his work. Then Mr. Park says to both of them, you both together have to complete this project in a few days. Therefore, you will have to take out some time on the weekend as well. Hearing this, Yuri looks toward Jisoo and asks, so are you free this weekend? So that we both together can focus on the club's work? The male lead Jisoo remains silent for a few seconds. He is not able to say yes or no directly. It is his habit to first think about everything internally. After going home, conversation starts between Jisoo and Yuri over messages. After a while, Yuri asks him directly, shall we both meet tomorrow and work on club activities? Seeing this message, the male lead Jisoo gets into tension. He keeps looking at the screen for a long time. In his mind, on one side, his secret life is going on, and on the other side, a normal student life with Yuri. After thinking a lot, he gathers courage and sends a reply, yes. Immediately after that, Jisoo messages Mr. Lee, tomorrow, all our operations will be off. Mr. Lee informs all the girls about this without asking any questions. But here, Minju is already troubled regarding money. She says to Mr. Lee, if the work remains closed even on the weekend, then how will we complete our target? Then she says, while being a bit hesitant, sir, why don't you go with me to work tomorrow? I won't tell anyone. But Mr. Lee goes away from there without saying anything. Seeing this, Minju becomes even more angry and frustrated. The next day, the male lead, Jisoo, reaches a restaurant to meet Yuri. This is the first restaurant experience of his life. Therefore, he is quite nervous. Even after looking at the menu, he does not understand what to order. He gathers some courage and starts a conversation with Yuri and asks casually, what do your parents do? Hearing this, Yuri first bursts out laughing. She thinks Jisoo is perhaps joking. But when she sees Jisoo's serious face, then she realizes he truly wants to know. Then, controlling her laugh, Yuri says softly, you are truly very different, Jisoo. So here, Yuri slowly asks Jisoo, how are your parents? Hearing this question, the male lead, Jisoo, becomes completely silent. For a moment, a sadness spreads in his eyes. He is unable to say anything. He just keeps looking down. Seeing this silence of Jisoo, Yuri understands perhaps his parents are not in this world, and he has been living completely alone for the past several years. Yuri asks in a bit of a soft tone, so how have you been managing your expenses for so many years? Jisoo tells a lie without letting anyone have a doubt. I do a part-time job. All my needs are fulfilled by that. Hearing this, Yuri smiles slightly and says, while affectionately stroking Jisoo's hair, you are truly quite brave. Living alone at such a young age and taking care of yourself, this is not a small thing. This thing touches Jisoo's heart directly. For the first time in life, someone is trying to understand his struggle. Tears come into his eyes and he becomes quite emotional. Here on the other side, in the rush to earn money, Minju reaches a loan to meet her client. She has no idea at all. The man she is going to meet is actually that same psycho. As soon as she reaches there, the psycho catches her and says threateningly, call Mr. Lee immediately. Minju becomes terribly scared and starts crying. Meanwhile, emergency messages for help suddenly start coming on Jisoo's phone. He says to Yuri, I am coming just now, and immediately goes away from there on the pretext of the washroom. Over there, Minju sends a message while crying, I know that by coming here alone, I have made a mistake, but I am sure you will definitely come to help me. Reading this, Jisoo immediately calls Mr. Lee, but at that time, Mr. Lee is getting his phone repaired. Therefore, the call cannot be received. Now Jisoo has no other option. Even without wanting to, he decides to go himself. He quickly takes some necessary things and reaches near that hotel. There, the psycho is scaring Minju and the situation is becoming quite dangerous. Then Jisoo calls that psycho and says, in a changed voice, you have only a few minutes. If you don't go from here right now, then the police will come. Hearing this, the psycho becomes terribly scared. As soon as he looks out the window, he sees a police car. Out of fear, he immediately runs away from there. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Minju frees herself and runs away from there. During this, a police officer, Officer Lee, catches a glimpse of her from a distance but is unable to recognize her due to the crowd and darkness. As soon as Minju is safe, Jisoo immediately reaches back to the restaurant. But by then, Yuri has gone from there. This thing makes Jisoo a little sad. The next morning, Yuri is sitting at the breakfast table with her parents. Her parents are the founders of a big company and want, "Yuri, we want you to become the CEO of our company later on." Yuri's mother says to her, "Next week is the board meeting. I want you to also come there and start understanding everything. After all, one day you have to handle the company." But Yuri's heart is not in all this at all. She thinks to herself, "I wish I could refuse my parents forever." But she knows this is not so easy. Therefore, putting a stone on her heart, she accepts their words. After a while, Yuri reaches school quite early. In the classroom, her eyes fall on Jisoo, who is sleeping with his head on his seat. Just then, Yuri's eyes go to Jisoo's phone. She remembers, yesterday he suddenly went away from there while talking to someone on the phone. Her doubt and curiosity increase. Therefore, without telling anyone, she quietly picks up Jisoo's phone and goes to the washroom to try to unlock it. But because of not knowing the password, she is not able to open the phone. After trying a lot, finally she gives up, but now more questions arise in her mind regarding Jisoo. After some time, Yuri herself reaches Jisoo's classroom to meet him. Jisoo becomes a little nervous as soon as he sees her. He apologizes shyly for yesterday. "Sorry I went away without telling you." Yuri looks at him, but before saying anything, some students of the class start talking among themselves after seeing them both together. Oh man, what work does a popular student like Yuri have with a loser like Jisoo? Don't know what she saw in him. Hearing all this, Jisoo feels even more awkward. Then Yuri asks Jisoo directly, "You disappeared yesterday because of work, didn't you? After all, what kind of work do you do? Why don't you take me along with you?" Jisoo hesitates a little, then says, "In the work I do, only one person is needed. Therefore, I cannot take you there." Yuri says while doing a bit of drama, "Okay, then no matter. I thought that you would join the club with me, but it seems you don't even have time for me." Saying this, Yuri starts going away from there. Then Jisoo stops her and says quickly, "Wait, I will join the club with you." Hearing this, a smile comes on Yuri's face. She happily adds Jisoo to her club group. Meanwhile, Yuri sees Jisoo unlocking his phone and notices his password. After a while, trying that same password, Yuri unlocks Jisoo's phone, and her work is done. Here, Jisoo slowly realizes, "My phone is missing." As soon as he understands this, he becomes scared and starts searching for the phone in the entire school in a hurry. After checking every class, every corridor, and every bench, he reaches that place where Minju and others are celebrating her boyfriend, Ki-tae's birthday. There, Jisoo's eyes fall on a phone that is exactly like his phone. He is just about to run and pick it up when suddenly his foot slips and he falls directly onto the birthday cake. The entire cake gets ruined. Seeing this, Ki-tae becomes red with anger and starts beating Jisoo. Just then, Jisoo's father arrives there. He drives everyone away and, taking care of Jisoo, takes him to a restaurant. There, Jisoo's father says in a serious voice, "I have decided now we both will live together in Busan." Hearing this, Jisoo does not feel good at all. He asks in anger, "You have come here only to ask for money, haven't you?" His father says in a calm voice, "No, I have also gotten your transfer done after talking to your teacher." Hearing this, Jisoo's anger increases even more. He goes out from there without saying anything. Just then, location tracking starts on his business phone. Actually, Yuri is very close to him. Jisoo reaches a cyber cafe while following the location. As soon as he enters, by then, Yuri has already noticed him. She immediately hides herself. Meanwhile, Minju is about to go home after finishing her birthday celebration when a service request comes on the Doggo app. After a lot of thought, Minju accepts that request and reaches the hotel. But as soon as she enters the room, her eyes fall on that same psycho again. Her body starts trembling. She immediately sends an emergency help message. This message comes to Yuri's phone, but she does not understand what to do. In nervousness, she turns off the phone's location. In this way, Jisoo's tracking system stops, and Yuri again disappears from his sight. But along with this, Yuri clearly sees Minju's help message. Without wasting a moment, she accepts that request and starts tracking the location. In this way, as soon as the request is accepted, Mr. Lee immediately reaches to help Minju. But upon reaching there, a shocking truth comes forward. Actually, what Minju is seeing is her illusion. That person is someone else, but Minju, due to her fear and trauma, considers he is that same psycho. Mr. Lee slowly handles Minju and, while calming her down, brings her to a restaurant. Yuri is already present there. As soon as her eyes fall on Minju, she understands this is the same girl who is part of the Doggo app's network. In this way, Yuri slowly learns the secret of Minju's real life as well. But meanwhile, Minju requests Mr. Lee, please do not tell Uncle about today's matter. Actually, all the girls call Jesu Uncle. Mr. Lee asks in a serious voice, do you still want to do this work? Minju does not like this question. She feels, someone is doubting me. In anger, she goes away from there without saying anything. Over there, Mr. Lee immediately calls Jesu. Nearby, Yuri is sitting in the restaurant. She picks up the call with a clever mind and pretends, Mom, I am talking to you. Mr. Lee has no doubt, and he leaves from there. As soon as Mr. Lee sits in the car, he gets a call from Jisu's old phone. Mr. Lee says in surprise, are you calling from your old number? Is something wrong somewhere? Here, Jisu tells the entire situation in detail. But Mr. Lee says in shock, how can this be? You yourself had accepted the help message. Hearing this, Jisoo feels a jolt. He slowly starts to understand the whole picture. Just then, another call comes on Jisoo's phone. He picks up the call. On the other side is Yuri. Yuri says in a changed voice, I have come to know everything about your dark deeds. Tell me how many girls are involved in this work of yours? And how much money do you earn? Yuri keeps asking questions one after another. Jisoo's tension increases terribly. He says nervously, please give me my phone back. I will do whatever you say. Yuri says with a bit of a joke and a bit of anger, if you will obey my every word, then bark like a dog and show me. Poor Jisoo truly starts barking without thinking. But even after doing all this, Yuri does not listen to him and cuts the phone. The next morning, Jisoo does not come to school. Yuri notices this thing. Her heart becomes restless. After school ends, Yuri herself reaches Jisoo's house. There, Jisoo is completely broken. Sitting on the bed, he is just staring at the wall with empty eyes. He feels, my entire life has shattered in a single moment. Finally, he decides, I will go away from here. He packs all his belongings and also keeps all the money he had collected from his work. Just then, Yuri arrives there. She says softly, I have come to meet you at the teacher's request. But Jisoo somehow tells Yuri to leave from there. Yuri says while doing a bit of emotional drama, I have come from so far, if you want, then I am going back. Jisoo calls her inside out of compulsion. Upon going inside, Yuri's eyes fall on the packed bags and she understands Jisoo is planning to run away somewhere. She asks directly, are you thinking of going somewhere? Jisoo remains silent for a few moments, then says, I am going to Busan to my father. When Yuri asks him the reason, then Jisoo refuses to tell anything. Then Yuri gets an idea. She goes out on the pretext of going to the washroom. After a while, Yuri calls Jisoo again. Do you want your phone back? If yes, then you will have to listen to me. Poor Jisoo immediately says yes. Yuri places a straight condition. Come outside the school right now. There you will get your phone. After this, the male lead Jisoo makes a plan in his mind. He goes near the washroom and tells Yuri, I am going out for a while so that he can leave quickly. But Yuri does not take the name of coming out of the washroom. Finally, Jisoo says, I am going out for some work. You take care of the house until then. And just on this pretext, Jisoo leaves from there. Actually, this is Yuri's plan. As soon as Jisoo goes, Yuri secretly starts checking his bags. In a little while, she finds a bag that is full of money. At first, Yuri feels, I should steal the bag and run away from here and start my life anew. But in the very next moment, her heart beats loudly. She realizes, I am doing so wrong with Jisoo. She thinks, Jisoo is managing both studies and business alone without his parents. Remembering all this, Yuri's heart fills up. Finally, she leaves the bag right there. Just then, suddenly Jisoo's father arrives there. Seeing him, Yuri immediately hides behind. Actually, Jisoo's father has come to take some of his belongings. But not seeing Jisoo there, he starts gathering his belongings. Meanwhile, that bag of money comes into his hands. As soon as he sees the bag, his mind flips. Without thinking anything, he makes a plan. I will take the money and run away. Yuri is watching all this while hiding. She does not want to let him do this at any cost. Therefore, she goes behind him into the lift. As soon as they are about to come out of the lift, Yuri tries to pull the bag. But in the scuffle, Jisoo's father steals the bag and runs away. During this, Jisoo's phone accidentally falls down from Yuri, due to which his location tracker stops. Here, Jisoo's father is running at a high speed sitting on a cycle. Over there, Jisoo reaches right there while following the location. He sees his father in front of him. The bag of money is in his hand. Jisoo understands everything, but by then his father has disappeared from there. Just then, Jisoo's eyes fall on the location, which is very close. And in the next moment, Yuri arrives there. Seeing Jisoo's phone in her hand, Jisoo understands the whole truth. In anger, Jisoo raises his hand to hit Yuri, but Yuri pushes him and makes him fall. Seeing all this, Jisoo is completely broken. In a heavy voice, he says, I never thought that you would do this to me. And without looking back, he goes away from there with sadness. Next day, In class, Minju's boyfriend begins to bully Jisoo in front of everyone. Just then, suddenly Yuri arrives there. Standing directly in front of that boy, she asks, "Are you a good friend of Jisoo?" The boy becomes confused. Then Yuri says in a cold voice while threatening, "Jisoo and I are dating each other. Therefore, it would be better for you to stay away from him." Hearing this, the entire class is shocked. After that, Yuri, holding Jisoo's hand, introduces him to some of her smart and influential friends. She says softly to Jisoo, "Your money is gone. Now the business will have to be made strong again. These people can help you." The next morning, Jisoo calls many people and asks about his father, but no one knows anything about him. Being troubled, he boards the lift to go to school. There, he has a clash with Yuri. Jisoo's eyes fall on the phone in Yuri's hand. Considering it to be his phone, he snatches it, but that is Yuri's phone. Jisoo says in anger, "Why are you not returning my phone?" Yuri says calmly while twisting the matter, "Did you think about my idea? Seniors can help a lot in setting up your business again." But Jisoo clearly refuses this idea. As soon as he comes out of the lift, he starts moving forward, but Yuri keeps following him. Finally, Jisoo stops and asks in anger, "Why are you doing all this? What peace do you get by bothering me so much?" Yuri says in a straight voice, "I want to help you. Why don't we both together find your father and bring the money back?" Hearing this, Jisoo falls into a bit of thought. He likes this idea, and he includes Yuri in his plan. Both board the bus and set out toward Ulsan. After a long journey, they reach Jisoo's father's house, but a lock is already placed there. Both enter inside after breaking the lock carefully. They search every corner of the house, but no sign of Jisoo's father is found anywhere. Giving up after getting tired, they stop right there thinking perhaps he will return by night. Meanwhile, Yuri asks slowly, "You used to save millions of dollars every month. So how much must you be giving to the master who is above you?" Jisoo says while smiling slightly, "He is not my master, but my partner." Hearing this, Yuri is shocked. She thinks, Jisoo keeps a partner even for wrong deeds. Then Jisoo calmly clears, "I don't do any dirty work. I do the work of giving security to those girls." Yuri says without thinking, "I don't care about all this. I myself want to be involved in this work of yours so that I can earn money." Jisoo looks at her in surprise. "You come from a good house. What is the need for all this for you?" Yuri does not give any answer to this thing. Silence spreads, and that night, both sleep in that house. The next morning, their sleep is broken by the sound of someone coming into the house. As soon as they come out, Jisoo's father is found standing in front of them. Both immediately catch him. But by then, it is too late. Jisoo's father tells, "I invested all the money in a scam account, and in just a few hours, the entire money has been lost." Hearing this, the ground slips from under Jisoo's feet. He is completely broken. Without saying anything, he starts going away from there. Yuri follows him and tries to handle him. She explains, "If your father has done all this, then you should force him and get the money back out." But Jisoo says in a sad voice, "He is my father. Even if I want to, I cannot harm him." In a way, Jisoo has accepted, "My money is now sunk." And with this sadness, he returns back to his city. But the difficulties do not end here. A little while later, a call comes from Mr. Park. "You haven't paid your college fees yet." Even if he wants to, Jisoo is not able to give the money. Therefore, he asks for a few more days of time. Over there, due to the business being closed, Mr. Lee also has been sitting completely idle for many days. Just then, a girl comes to meet him. She asks, "Did your partner go to jail somewhere? You haven't been working for many days." Mr. Lee does not give any special answer. Putting some money in his hand, the girl says, "If you want, then we both together can start our own separate business." But Mr. Lee returns her money and refuses. Seeing this, the girl asks, "After all, what kind of relationship is there between you two?" Meanwhile, we again see that female police officer who is checking all the CCTV footage of the hotel. She soon finds Minju's picture. As soon as she sees Minju, the officer suspects perhaps she had also come to that hotel for dirty work. But then her companion says, "It is not right to judge someone wrong without knowing the complete truth. It is not necessary that every girl who goes to a hotel does wrong work." The officer looks at Minju's picture intently and promises herself, "I will reach the truth of this case." Here, Minju is with her boyfriend Kitae, but she is clearly troubled. Instead of paying attention to her, Kitae is busy in the game the entire time. Minju asks in a bit of a sad voice, "Do you love me only for my money?" Kitae says immediately without thinking, "Yes." This answer pricks Minju's heart. Both anger and pain come on her face. But just then, Kitae also says in return, "And what do you think? If I were not a topper, then would you have come to me?" "No, right." Hearing this, Minju becomes completely silent. She understands there is a relationship of benefit more than love between the two. Meanwhile, Mr. Lee calls Jisoo. He says in a serious voice, "We have kept the work closed for many days. I haven't received my money until now. Clear it so that we can start the work ahead." This thing makes Jisoo even more troubled because he is left with nothing to give. Just then, Minju reaches to meet Mr. Lee. She asks slowly, "Is Uncle angry with me somewhere? He hasn't been working for many days." Mr. Lee says in a bit of a harsh manner, "What are you getting by doing all this?" I know you don't like doing all this. Minju asks in a bit of a nervous way, doesn't Uncle like working with me? Mr. Lee gives a straight answer, not Uncle, I feel uncomfortable working with you. Actually, Mr. Lee wants, I want to keep Minju away from this dark world. But in anger, Minju goes away from there without saying anything. Over there, Jisoo tries to earn money by working at different places. Sometimes labor in a warehouse, sometimes small labor work. But however much hard work he does not get that much money. And with every passing day, his tension keeps increasing. The next morning, Yuri herself reaches to meet Jisoo. She knows, due to not having money, Jisoo is not even able to start his business again. She quietly hands some money to him, but Jisoo immediately returns that money and says in anger, "You are making fun of my life by doing all this, aren't you?" And without stopping, he starts going away from there. However much Yuri tries to explain, Jisoo does not stop. Despite working day and night, Jisoo's difficulties keep increasing instead of decreasing. He refuses even to join Mr. Park's club, then somehow gives the exam after studying. But the biggest shock comes then when, for the first time, Jisoo gets the lowest marks in the class. The entire class is shocked. A classmate of his, after seeing his marks, makes fun of him in front of everyone. Look at this. The topper of the class is not even able to pass properly today. I think he used to pass earlier by cheating. Hearing this, Jisoo's shocked. All the pain, anger, insult, everything bursts out together, and in the very next moment, he gives that boy a powerful punch. The entire class remains stunned. At this moment, Jisoo realizes, I have received only loss by walking on the straight path. And the very next day, going to Yuri, he says directly, I am ready to make you my partner. At first, Yuri is shocked. She doesn't even believe Jisoo would change his decision so quickly. But after thinking for a few moments, she agrees. And in this way, both officially become partners, and the business starts again. Over there, Minju again goes to meet Mr. Lee. This time, to calm his anger, she also brings food along. She says softly, if Uncle doesn't start work again, then we people will become homeless. Mr. Lee takes a deep breath and says, I know, you don't want to do this work, so stop this drama. But Minju behaves as if she likes all this. Just then, Jisoo's call comes, who tells Mr. Lee to start the work again. Mr. Lee, telling this thing to Minju, asks, would you like to go to work today? And in the very next moment, Mr. Lee leaves from there. It is clearly seen Mr. Lee wants to save Minju from this world, but Minju herself has not been able to accept this thing until now. Over there, that boy whom Jisoo had punched tells the whole story to Kitae. Kitae smiles in a cunning manner and says, if you want to show Jisoo his place, then bully him slowly so that he breaks from inside. Hearing this, the fire of revenge flares up in that boy's eyes, and he makes a complete plan to take revenge on Jisoo. Meanwhile, Jisoo and Gori are sitting together. Then Gori asks slowly, what did you think about my idea? She is actually talking about those same seniors whom she wants to include in her work. But Jisoo refuses without thinking much. No, those people cannot help at all in our work. Yuri, getting a little irritated, signals toward the students nearby and says, most of the students here are those who do illegal work while living in the hostel, and those seniors, they will be absolutely perfect for our work. But despite this, Jisoo remains firm on his word. He again gets involved in work with full preparation. He deals with customers, keeps the work continuous, and slowly starts earning money. But in between, Yuri keeps a half share of his money with herself. Despite all this, Jisoo somehow begins to recover his old savings. At the same time, Minju stays away from this work. She might not have officially left the work, but her heart has now risen from all this. One night, Jisoo is hiding his money. Just then, Yuri arrives there and asks for her share. Inside, Jisoo is sad. He does the hard work day and night, but more than half the money has to be given to Yuri. Then Yuri's eyes fall on Jisoo's notebook, in which he has written the entire account. She says, you should do all this on email. The work will become even easier. Jisoo gives a straight answer. Mr. Lee does not know anything about email. On this, Yuri once again starts the topic of the seniors. This time, she secretly gives the offer of work to all of them by sending spam messages. But she gets a shock then, when all the seniors refuse one by one. In this way, Jisoo's words prove to be absolutely true. That same night, Yuri's mother says to her, tomorrow is very special for you. Be well prepared. Actually, Guri's mother is going to take her to meet some special people of her business, so that Guri starts learning the business. Guri goes with them, but from inside, she is not very excited. Later, she goes directly to meet Jisoo. Here, Jisoo also wants to meet her so that he can talk on his partnership. His belief is, I am working day and night. Therefore, giving all the money to Yuri is not fair. Just then, Yuri arrives there in a beautiful dress. Seeing her, Jisoo's anger calms down on its own. Both sit and talk peacefully. Yuri says, I am understanding your problem. Therefore, now I will keep only 30% and you 70%. At first, Jisoo refuses, but finally agrees. Next morning in school, Kitae and his friends make a plan to trap Jisoo. Kitae diverts him in the washroom, and meanwhile, a student secretly puts a cigarette in Jisoo's bag. After that, Kitae reaches directly to the dean's office and, showing the cigarette, says, Sir, I found this thing in the school washroom. Hearing this, the dean takes the decision of bag checking in the entire school. Meanwhile, when the seniors' bags are being checked, in the hallway, Yuri spots the dean and two guards heading toward the classrooms with a master key. She ducks behind a locker, watching them suspiciously. She quickly pulls out her phone. She immediately warns Jisoo by messaging him, but Jisoo does not take it seriously and ignores it. By the time he understands, by then, the dean has come into the class and announces bag checking. Then, Mr. Park says, permission should be taken from students before checking the bag. The dean asks for permission from the whole class and no one is able to say anything. Just as bag checking is about to start, Jisoo suddenly stands up and says, I do not give permission for the checking of my bag. Hearing this, the dean becomes furious and decides to check Jisoo's bag first of all. Jisoo immediately asks Mr. Park, Sir, can the bag be checked without my permission? Mr. Park says, No, the bag cannot be checked without permission. But the dean does not listen to anyone and goes to open the bag forcibly. Just as he is about to open the bag, just then, the emergency bell rings. Chaos breaks out in the entire school and all students are taken outside. Later, upon checking the CCTV footage, it is found Yuri's hand was behind the fake emergency bell. Mr. Park personally asks Yuri. Yuri immediately starts crying, and while doing drama, says that she was very troubled. Therefore, she did all this to get attention. Mr. Park, seeing her condition, lets her go. And when Yuri comes out, then Jisoo is already waiting for her there. Now here, Jisoo shows Yuri that same cigarette, which someone had secretly put in his bag. Both understand someone has done all this knowingly so that Jisoo can be trapped. But now, another big problem stands in front of Jisoo. For the past few days, he has been searching for some safe place to hide his money, but he hasn't found any trustworthy place until now. Finally, Yuri takes him to Mr. Park's office and says, Your money will be absolutely safe in this place. Hearing this, Jisoo is a little surprised because Mr. Park is always present here. But then he also realizes, there cannot be a more safe and perfect place than this for my work. After this, both come out from the school. Just then, Yuri's mother arrives there and sees them both together. She immediately asks Jisoo, Since when do you two know each other? Is something going on between you? Jisoo is about to say something in nervousness when Yuri's mother, ignoring him, starts talking directly to Yuri. She asks, Does your boyfriend know everything about your past? And right here, the reveal of Yuri's dark past happens, how she has already tried to take her own life several times before. Yes, every time she might be saved. But from inside, she is still quite broken. Meanwhile, Minju is celebrating Kitae's birthday. While giving the gift, she says nervously, I don't know whether you will like my gift or not. Kitae says with a smile, Whatever you give, I will like everything. But as soon as he opens the gift, only a simple cap comes out from inside. Seeing this, Kitae's mood immediately gets ruined. He says irritably, Just this? You are going to bring something special for me. What will I do with this cheap cap? Saying this, he throws the gift back toward Minju. This thing hurts Minju so much that she goes away from there without saying anything. In that same club, Cho-mi is also present, who is not only the co-owner of the club, but also does the work of security like Jisoo. Talking to a friend of Minju, she says, You people are taking security from that man, who has neither a proper name nor any background. Work with me. You will get more profit. Actually, Cho-mi is manipulating her so that she can snatch Jisoo's business and increase her own work. And slowly, her plan also starts working. During this, Cho-mi's boyfriend, Ryu, arrives there, who is actually a dangerous gangster. Here, Gyurai's meeting happens with a student of her mother's academy who is terribly troubled because of money. Then an idea comes into Gyuri's mind. She immediately messages Jisoo, I have found a boy who can help in our work. After this, Jisoo sends a spam job message to that boy, which he immediately accepts out of compulsion. That night, Gyuri meets Jisoo. Both ask Mr. Lee about the new boy. Mr. Lee tells, He is still standing in front of me. He has taken many cigarettes but hasn't come out for delivery yet. Hearing this, Jisoo understands. The boy is absolutely new and is quite scared. Jisoo immediately calls him and says calmly, I know you are new in this work. Therefore, you are nervous. If you want, then not today, you can work later. Then he adds in a soft tone, and yes, if you ever get stuck in any difficulty, then our man will always be near you to help you. After this, that boy's eyes fall on Mr. Lee sitting behind. He gets some peace from Jisoo's words, and gathering courage, he finally sets out for work. Here, Jisoo is quite happy with his plan. Just then, his eyes fall on Yuri and he asks slowly, "After that day, did your mother say anything to you?" Yuri makes fun of him while smiling. At most, what will she think just this, that we both are together? Hearing this, Jisoo becomes shy and, without saying anything, goes directly to his room to sleep. Here, seeing Jisoo working so hard, Yuri feels a little guilty. Finally, before going home, she secretly puts his phone right there, which Jisoo had forgotten by mistake. The next morning when Jisoo's eyes open, then he gets his phone back. And then he understands, this work was done by Yuri. After this, Jisoo reaches school where he sees many police officers are distributing pamphlets. This is actually an awareness and promotion drive. Meanwhile, a new danger starts hovering over Minju. She is still angry with Kitae's behavior, and in anger, starts going away after leaving class. Before going, she gives that same cap to Jisoo, which she had taken for Kitae. Yuri sees the scene, and a spark of jealousy flares up within her. Over there, Mr. Park, seeing Minju, calls her and says, "Today, you will have a counseling class again, but this time not I, but someone else will handle it." Here, Yuri still appears a little angry with Jisoo, and Jisoo notices this thing. To make her mood better, he says, "I have decided after a lot of thought, I will become an official member of your club." Hearing this, Yuri is a little surprised, and both together set out toward the club room. But as soon as they reach inside, their eyes fall on Officer Lee and Minju sitting there already. Seeing each other, they all understand. Officer Lee must have come here for specific work, and with this, the situation becomes even more tense. In this way, Jisoo comes into even more tension. He begins to fear, "My secret might be revealed today." Then Yuri says while explaining to him, "It is not necessary that the police have come here only because of our work. Minju is anyway a quite mischievous girl. It's possible she has done some other misdeed." But just then, Jisoo's ears get fixed on the voice coming from inside. He hears, Officer Lee is asking Minju, "Where were you on March 28th and what were you doing?" Hearing this, Jisoo freezes because this is the same day when Minju had gone to work in the hotel. In this way, both Jisoo and Yuri are surprised. Then an idea comes into Yuri's mind and she immediately runs toward the staff room. Here, Officer Lee, showing the hotel's CCTV footage to Minju, asks, "Tell the truth, what were you doing in the hotel on that day?" Hearing this, Minju's sweat breaks out. She doesn't want to tell anything, but when she is about to speak out of compulsion just then, Jisoo takes an entry there. He says in anger to Officer Lee, "You cannot ask any student about her personal life." On this matter, Officer Lee becomes silent for a few moments. Jisoo further says in a firm voice, "If you have to do any further questioning, then you should have a proper warrant." Then, looking toward Minju, he says softly, "You don't need to tell anything here. These are your personal matters and no one has the right to know them." Officer Lee is still about to take the talk forward when just then, her phone rings. On the call, her senior says in anger, "You are doing illegal interrogation of students in school. I have just received a complaint about this. Come back from there immediately." Compulsively, Officer Lee has to go from there without completing the talk. And this complaint was made by none other than Yuri herself after going to the staff room on the police helpline. After some time, Mr. Park, calling both Jisoo and Minju, asks them to explain everything. But Jisoo supports Minju here too and says, "Sir, Minju cannot tell you anything. These are matters related to her personal life. No one has the right to invade her privacy." In this way, Mr. Park also ends the matter right here. But that same night, Yuri says to Jisoo in a serious tone, "Minju has now become a danger for us. Now she will have to be removed from the group." After this, both call Mr. Lee and make him talk directly to Minju. On the call, Yuri says in a cold voice, "We are not happy at all with your recent work. Therefore, we have decided that you should be removed from the group." Hearing this, Minju becomes terribly scared and begs them not to do so. But Mr. Lee, without any emotion, after rebooting her phone and taking out the bracelet, removes her permanently from the system. The next morning, talk has spread in the entire school. Jisoo was standing in front of the police officer and speaking in Minju's support. But Yuri knows this well. Jisoo did all this not for Minju, but to save himself. For her, Jisoo is not a hero but a cowardly person who in every situation thinks only of his own safety. Here, Officer Lee once again calls Minju. She says in a calm voice, "Can we complete our incomplete talk?" But hearing this, Minju's anger bursts out. She says in a firm tone, "You cannot peek into someone's personal life forcibly." And saying this, she cuts the phone. Meanwhile, Kitae attacks Jisoo. He screams in anger, "Why did you take my girlfriend's side so much? Tell the truth!" The situation is just about to go out of hand when just then, both Yuri and Minju reach there. Yuri immediately starts drama and says to Minju, Do you still want to hide the truth? Why don't you tell your boyfriend that you had committed theft because of which the police are questioning you? Hearing this, Kitae's misunderstanding is cleared, and Minju's real secret also gets suppressed right there. But Minju has now understood, perhaps Jisoo and Gori have come to know everything about me. Therefore, she asked Jisoo in private, "Tell the truth, had you heard all of Officer Lee's talk that day? Had you come to know where I was on that day and what I was doing?" Jisoo does not remain silent. He tells the whole truth. Hearing this, Minju asks him directly, "Don't say that you did all this because you love me." Jisoo immediately refuses. Then Minju says while being serious, "If you truly want to help me, then you will have to go to a place with me today." Jisoo agrees and both set out to meet Mr. Lee. Here, Cho-mi is ignoring her boyfriend Ryu completely. This thing puts Ryu in doubt. Is her affair going on with someone else? In this same doubt, Ryu secretly checks Cho-mi's phone, where he finds the Doggo app's message, in which a boy has made a plan to meet another boy. Ryu misunderstands. Cho-mi is cheating on me. In anger, he reaches that place with his men, where the boy selected by Yuri was about to come. As soon as that boy reaches there, Ryu's men catch him and make him a prisoner. Ryu is about to kill him when, just then, he checks his phone and then he realizes this boy is wrong. The message has come from somewhere else. Now, Ryu starts making that boy vomit everything about the real man so that he can reach the real culprit. Here, Minju and Jisoo have reached to meet Mr. Lee. This is the first time when Jisoo is in front of Mr. Lee, but Mr. Lee does not know his real identity. He calls uncle, but no one picks up the phone. Then Minju says with a mixed emotion of anger and compulsion, "You people have done very wrong by removing me from work in this way. At least compensate me so that I can do something ahead." But Mr. Lee is not ready to listen to her talk, and, ignoring her, starts going from there. Minju runs behind him taking Jisoo. Both come out of the restaurant where Mr. Lee notices some people. These are Ryu's men. Mr. Lee immediately says to Minju, "You both go away from here, otherwise you will fall into a big difficulty." But Minju is not ready to step back. And just then, Ryu's men surround them from four sides. Now a terrible fight starts there. Mr. Lee alone knocks down many goons but finally becomes more injured. Then Jisoo moves forward and stops the goons so that Minju can take Mr. Lee to the hospital. Minju successfully takes Mr. Lee and leaves from there, but behind, Ryu's men catch Jisoo. On the other side, the injured Mr. Lee is hidden inside a van. At that time, some people are still searching for both, but nothing comes into their hands. As soon as those people leave from there, Minju immediately calls Mr. Park because she is not understanding whom to ask for help. The scene shifts toward the hospital, where Minju and Mr. Lee reach. Officer Lee somehow learns what has happened to Minju after all, and she reaches the hospital by tracing Minju's location. There she sees Minju and Mr. Lee, but the boy who had come with them is seen nowhere. Here, on the other side, Ryu's men have kept Jisoo tied up, and they are about to do some very dangerous things with him. Then Ryu, showing Jisoo a photo of his girlfriend, says, "You spent time with my girlfriend. Therefore, you will get punishment." Just as he is going to cut his hand, just then, his girlfriend, Cho-mi, arrives there and asks, screaming in anger, "What are all of you doing?" Ryu says, "This is the one with whom you cheated on me." But the girl clearly refuses and says, "I don't even know him, and please stop spying on me." In anger, she goes away from there. Then the gang realizes a mistake has been made. They apologize to Jisoo and let him go. The scene of the hospital comes back. Officer Lee asks Minju who Mr. Lee was, whom she brought with her, and what is her relation with him. Minju does not give any answer to this question. Then suddenly, she remembers Jisoo. She tells, "Another boy was also with us. Those people had caught Jisoo." Hearing this, Officer Lee immediately sends some of her officers to search for him, but no one is found there. Here, Minju becomes quite scared, tries to reassure herself that everything will be fine. But Officer Lee clearly says, "Nothing is fine. One person is injured and your friend is missing. If you had told everything truthfully earlier, then perhaps all this could have been avoided." Then Officer Lee says such a thing that shakes Minju from inside. "Will you tell when his dead body is found?" Hearing this, Minju cries loudly and becomes troubled regarding Jisoo. Just then, Mr. Park arrives there and handles her. Over there, Jisoo's dressing has been done, but then a question is revolving in Ryu's mind. When he had sent the message from business phone, then how did the notification come on his own phone? Then he finds out those people use a proof overlap system and that person was only a middleman of a big prostitute service group. Here, to save his life, Jisoo vomits everything about his illegal business, just does not tell the name of his real boss. Ryu's men say, "He has come to know quite a lot about us. After taking so much information, we cannot leave him alive." Then Ryu, saying to Jisoo, says, "If you want your own life, then make me talk to your boss." After this, Jisoo calls on the business phone and then Yuri receives the call. Here, he says on the phone, "Uncle, Some people want to talk to you. They have kidnapped me. Hearing this, Yuri understands Jisoo is actually trapped in a big difficulty, and she falls into a lot of thought. Here, she starts talking while pretending to be uncle. Therefore, the gang has absolutely no idea whether the person in front is a boy or a girl. Here, Yuri tells them, I have an offer for all of you. I want to include you in my work. Actually, Yuri has come to know some time ago. Because of Chomi, all the service girls have left our group. Therefore, she is asking for help here from a gangster like Ryu so that she can continue her work. Ryu accepts this deal. And as soon as the deal is final, the people of the gang let Jisoo go. After being released, first of all, Jisoo calls Mr. Park. Here, Mr. Park, while scolding Jisoo, says, I have been calling you since I don't know when. After all, where were you? Then Jisoo, while apologizing on the call, tells, my phone had switched off. Therefore, I could not contact you on time. Minju is sitting near Mr. Park, and hearing this talk, she also gets a little relief. Jisoo is absolutely fine. Now evening has come. Minju calls Kitae and calls him to meet. There she tells him the whole truth. This is the kind of work I was involved in. This is how so much money used to come to me. And this is the dark side of my life. But here a big twist happens. Here she asks Kitae, did you know that I used to bring money after doing all this work after all? So Kitae remains silent for a while, and from this it becomes clear Kitae already knows all this. He already knew. This is what Minju does, and this is where the money comes from. For this reason, he says to Minju, you should not have told me this thing. So Minju says in anger, from today there is no relationship between us. And saying this, she starts going from there. Then Kitae says to her, if you go like this, then I will tell everyone everything. But Minju does not care, and she goes away from there after ignoring him. On the other side, Jisoo is angry at Yuri. Without thinking, you put everyone in danger by accepting the partnership. He tells Yuri, those people are not some small-time goons. They have weapons like chainsaws, and if we work with them, then our death is certain. So Yuri tells Jisoo the whole truth. I did all this because now no girl is left in our work. All those girls have left our group. Coming to know all this, Jisoo remains completely stunned, and he understands Yuri has done all this to save our work. Meanwhile, Minju comes to the hospital and asks Jisoo, have you told everything to the police? He clearly tells her, I have not told anything to the police. Hearing this, Jisoo gets a little relief. Now Minju reaches Mr. Lee's room to meet him. He has now come into the state of consciousness. There, he says to Minju, nah, I have to talk to Uncle. You bring my phone. And meanwhile, Officer Lee is standing outside listening to their talk. After this, Minju, obeying Mr. Lee's words, starts searching for the phone in his van. But even after searching the entire van, the phone is not found. Actually, Officer Lee has already gone and taken that phone. In this way, Minju wants to find Uncle's number at any cost. So she goes to the girls of the gang and takes Uncle's number and calls on it. But in the first few times, no response comes. Then she calls Mr. Jisoo. Over there, Jisoo also starts calling Mr. Lee. In no time, Jisoo's call reaches Officer Lee and she also picks it up. Here, Officer Lee, as soon as she picks up Jisoo's call, starts asking, who are you? Tell me about yourself. But hearing Officer Lee's voice, Jisoo, being scared, drops the phone right there. Here, Officer Lee realizes this time, Uncle himself is that same man who is involved in this work. Here, Yuri reaches near Jisoo, seeing him troubled and asks, what happened? Now Jisoo becomes even more scared. Mr. Lee's phone has fallen into the hands of the police, and the police, after taking out my information from Mr. Lee's phone, can reach me. But then Yuri explains to him, you are worrying for no reason. The police need a warrant to open a phone. Over there, Mr. Lee's phone is password protected, and without a warrant, the police cannot hack it. Therefore, there is no reason to be scared for now. Along with this, Yuri also tells Jisoo, the gang's call had come and they have called you to meet. Hearing this, Jisoo comes into even more stress and refuses. I will not meet them. In anger, he says, you people just do a job. Your parents are rich. You will get out of this situation whenever you want. But we people will remain stuck right here. Yuri feels bad about this talk. She says in a calm way, fine, I go and meet them. Over there on that day, school is a holiday. Jisoo goes directly home and takes an extra phone and reaches that place where Mr. Lee's treatment is going on. Here, he is just about to go after taking Mr. Lee's well-being when just then, Minju comes out from the bathroom. After a while, Jisoo and Minju are sitting outside the hospital. Here, Minju says to Jisoo, I have decided I will tell the police everything. Here, she was going to tell the police This is everything that has happened with me, and this is the kind of work I was involved in. But Jisoo warns her, if you tell everything to the police, then you can be directly arrested and can also go to jail. Minju says, I will not go to jail. If anyone gets trapped, then it will be Uncle. On this very matter, Jisoo also indirectly threatens her. If you tell anything to the police, then Uncle can also have you killed. After this, Jisoo reaches to meet Mr. Lee. Here, Jisoo says to Mr. Lee, please forgive me for not being able to help you much that night. And saying this much, he is about to go from here when just then Ryu's call comes. He tells Jisoo, today your meeting is going to happen with my boss. Over there on the other side, we see Yuri getting ready nicely so that she can meet Ryu. She is about to set out for her meeting with tears in her eyes. Along with this, Jisoo also calls Yuri, but Yuri knowingly does not receive the call. Actually, she is still feeling bad about Jisoo's words. Meanwhile, Ki-tae is sitting in a cyber cafe gathering information about Minju's work. With the help of his classmates, he goes on different websites and uploads photos and tries to find out for whom does Minju actually work so that he can reach that man. After this, Yuri reaches the same restaurant where she has to meet Ryu, but here she is surprised to see Jisoo is already present there, and he is talking to Ryu in my place. So here, Jisoo tells Ryu, today, our boss was not free. Therefore, he has sent me in his place. Ryu also, without doing much mischief, says to Jisoo, kid, now you start full-time work. From today, you will work for us. And after saying this much, he also gives a lot of money to Jisoo. Poor Jisoo takes those bags and leaves from there. But now, he is forced to work for Ryu even without wanting to. At the same time, Ryu has already told all this conversation to Chomi. So here, Chomi asks Ryu, how can you, after all, give advance money by trusting a stranger so much? So Ryu gives her the answer, you are considering me to be less, because I am already ready with a great plan. Actually, Ryu had already hidden a tracking device in those bags of money, due to which he has already sent his men to follow Jisoo. He is doing this so, through Jisoo, I can find out the real boss. At the same time when Jisoo and Yuri are together, then Jisoo accidentally leaves that bag with Yuri after forgetting. At the same time when Yuri opens that bag, then she sees notes full of money. A little while after this, Yuri is sitting at the bus stop when she comes to know from Jisoo, Yuri, because of you, I am trapped in such a big matter. If you were not there, then I would not be trapped in all this. Meanwhile, a call from the gang's boss Ryu comes on his business phone. Here, Yuri, after receiving the call, says straight away, I will not do any kind of partnership and I will also return your money. Ryu taunts, yes, you talk big, but you are still a child. Just then, suddenly the gang's man reaches there and kidnaps Yuri and takes her away. On the other side, in the hospital, as soon as Minju comes out from the room, she sees that 2 officers are standing outside Mr. Lee's room. Officer Lee gives the order to those 2 officers, stay right here. Just then, Minju and her companion come out of the room and pass right by Officer Lee. Officer Lee recognizes them, but by the time she reacts, both disappear into the crowd and succeed in running away. Here, Jisoo is sitting in the bus and is crying quietly. Until yesterday, his life was absolutely normal, but slowly he got trapped in a web of problems. Now he was stuck in such a difficulty from where getting out seemed almost impossible. As soon as he gets off at the bus stop near his house, a call from Ryu's phone comes to him. Ryu tells, I have kidnapped Yuri. He threatens him. If the police are involved, then the girl's life will go. Therefore, he says, come to me quietly without telling anyone. The scene shifts, and we see that Jisoo reaches the house of a trusted friend of his. Here it is known, these 2 had been together in the military before. Jisoo requests his friend, help me in getting any information about Ryu. The friend starts a search through his network and decides, as soon as the location is found, Ryu will be finished directly. On the other side, Ryu forcibly takes Yuri with him to a secret place. After a while, he calls Jisoo and tells him, this is where Yuri has been brought. Yuri has regained consciousness, and a small knife is in her hand. Finding an opportunity, she attacks Ryu and injures him. Just then, another man arrives there. Yuri, putting the knife to his neck, makes him a hostage. At this same moment, Jisoo also reaches there and, with the help of a car, leaves from there taking Yuri. Actually, Jisoo had made Ryu's man unconscious by giving him an electric shock. Then he takes his car to a deserted place and burns it, so that no trace is found. After this, both decide to stay in a hotel instead of going home. Upon waking up in the morning, it is found Mr. Lee has disappeared. Coming to know this, Minju comes into a lot of panic. She asks Jisoo's friend, but he refuses. I will not tell you anything. When her mind did not work, she went to Officer Lee and told her, this is everything that has happened. Meanwhile, investigation starts in the police station, and the search for Mr. Lee becomes fast. In the meantime, Ki-tae once again finds out about Minju. This time, he receives a message. If you have to meet Minju, then come to this address. Actually, the one sending the message is none other than Yuri, who was giving shape to her next plan. She thinks, I do not want the police to come to know anything about those two. In the very next moment, she reaches that same personal room of Ryu where she secretly charges Jisoo's business phone with Ryu's phone. Now, after this, Yuri is just about to go from here when just then Ryu arrives there and catches her. Now here, before Ryu could do any harm to Yuri, by then, Kaitai reaches there with his companions. All those people attack Ryu's people. And meanwhile, Mr. Lee also arrives there, who is searching for Ryu. Now here, the matter has increased quite a lot. Just then, Yuri, after freeing herself, starts running from there. At the same time, Mr. Lee also finds Ryu and sets out to kill him. In this way, a tremendous fight happens between Mr. Lee and Ryu on the rooftop. Taking advantage of this confusion, Jisoo arrives there and he succeeds in running away from there, taking Yuri. During the fight, an attack happens on Mr. Lee from behind with a rod. A very brutal fight happens, but Mr. Lee does not lose heart and fights until his last breath. Here, Officer Lee also traces the location through CCTV footage and immediately raids the club with police backup. The police catch the entire gang. Later, a dead body is found from there. The police do questioning with that man's friends. In the investigation, it is found this entire racket was connected to human trafficking and illegal adult business. The role of Chomi's boyfriend Ryu also comes forward. Ryu was involved in the business of selling girls. At the same time, Chomi, to save herself, puts the entire blame on Ryu's head. After which Officer Lee says to Minju, now you can go from here, whether you want to work there or start anew. Here, Yuri and Jisoo had become safe. But just then, Yuri asks Jisoo, when will we start our work? This thing Jisoo does not like at all. He says to Yuri, you still want to continue this work? Do you even know what all has happened just now? So Yuri says in anger, yes, I want to continue this work. I am doing all this so that I can collect money and go far away from here. At the same time, Minju comes to know Mr. Lee has died. From this, Minju is completely broken. She used to consider Mr. Lee like her grandfather, and the pain of his going breaks her completely. Next day in school, everyone comes to know the whole truth about Minju. Because of this, everyone is looking at her with bad eyes and also bullies her. But in the meantime, Jisoo, after meeting Minju, tries to talk to her. He asks Minju, you haven't told anything to the police, have you? So on this, Minju says in anger, all this has happened because of you. If you had let me tell the police at the right time, then today Mr. Lee would have been alive. In this way, Jisoo comes to know Mr. Lee is no more in this world. Hearing this, Jisoo is completely broken. At the same time, Yuri, sitting in front of her parents, talks straight. Her tone is absolutely cold and threatening. She says, a boy of your academy has been found involved in wrong work. If you want this talk not to go out, then give me money so that I can go far from here. Actually, Yuri is talking about that same boy whom she herself had included in this work. But her parents, to save the academy's reputation, accept her condition and give her the money without asking many questions. After this, Yuri calls Jisoo and calls him to meet. There she says calmly, I am soon going to leave this city and go somewhere far. But before going, I want to live in Rome right here for a little while. Jisoo, hearing this, becomes a little sad. But more than that, he is troubled by the pressure of his current life. Here, Officer Lee, as soon as Mr. Lee's chapter ends, is just about to close the case, when just then, as soon as she enters the school, the tracker attached to Jisoo's phone becomes activated. This tracker leads directly to Jisoo's hidden money. Officer Lee reaches that location, and upon reaching there, she understands, in this entire racket, not only Mr. Lee, but some other big player is also involved. At the same time, when Jisoo reaches to take his money, then he sees everything is already missing from here. Seeing this, his mind becomes numb, and the tension increases even more. In the meantime, Jisoo's difficulties are about to increase further. Kitai goes to talk to Minju in private. He puts that same birthday cap in front of her and asks, what was this cap doing at that place of yours? Actually, when Yuri had gone to that hotel, then she accidentally forgets this cap right there. And for this reason, this talk reaches Kaitai after going around. Seeing the cap, Minju understands everything. She gets an idea. Jisoo's hand could be in this entire game. In the very next moment, Minju calls Jisoo to meet. She asks a straight question. Tell the truth, what were you doing at that place? Hearing this, Jisoo is completely broken. And finally, he tells the whole truth to Minju. This is everything I have done. Hearing the truth, Minju's anger bursts out. She says, I will tell all this to the police. But Jisoo, immediately holding her feet, asks for forgiveness while crying. I did all this only for my studies and a good college. Please forgive me. Minju asks in anger, was Yuri also mixed with you? Jisoo immediately refuses, no, I have done all this alone. She has no hand in this. Actually, Jisoo does not want. I will not let Yuri be trapped in this trouble in any case. Whether for that, I myself have to suffer. But Minju is not ready to listen to a single word from him. She ignores him and walks a little distance away. There she starts listening to the recording on her phone. She had recorded Jisoo's entire confession. Just then, Jisoo comes there and sees everything. Within moments, a fierce struggle begins between them as Jisoo tries to snatch the phone from her. During the pushing and fighting, Jisoo angrily pushes Minju hard and she falls to the ground. Because of the fall, Minju's condition becomes very serious. Meanwhile, Kitai goes to meet Chomi to find out the whole truth. Chomi directly asks him, "Do you really want to kill the man who did this to your girlfriend?" And in her desire for revenge, Chomi tells him the name of that man, Jisoo. But she doesn't know that Jisoo is actually the one behind this entire mess, and because of him, Ryu has already died. Meanwhile, Jisoo is planning to leave everything behind and run away from there. But just then, Kitai arrives at the place. As soon as Kitai enters the house, he sees blood on the floor and immediately realizes that something terrible has happened. He quickly tries to call Minju, but then he notices that Minju's phone is lying on the floor right there. Seeing this alone makes Kitai understand what Jisoo must have done. In the very next moment, he angrily attacks Jisoo and starts beating him brutally. In this fight, Kitai clearly has the upper hand, and it seems like Jisoo won't survive. But suddenly, Yuri arrives there. Without thinking twice, she attacks Kitai and kills him. Now even Yuri realizes that everything has gone completely out of their control. Looking at Jisoo, she says, "There's no point staying here anymore. Come with me. The two of us will leave this place forever." A little while later, the police reach Jisoo's house. Seeing the terrible condition of the house and the blood, they understand that something horrible must have happened there. Meanwhile, Minju's condition is extremely serious, so she is rushed to the hospital. And just like that, both Guri and Jisoo suddenly disappear. With their mysterious disappearance, the series finally comes to an end.